Good morning. This is Michelle Pierce for Special Ed 772. I'm doing this week's theme on visual supports and the environment of a classroom. And I started to do really detailed field notes and decided that since we had the option, I would do a video response this week. This is my own classroom, so it's pretty easy to be able to video. My students right now are in their music class, and so I'm able to video the classroom since they're not in here. So I'm going to do my very best to answer these questions, not shake my hand too much so that you don't get seasick watching me, and show you a little bit of some of the visual supports in my classroom and reflect a little bit on some things that this particular assignment caused me to realize that I could be doing better or adding some visual supports where I could create some better success. So the activities, the time I talked about in my field notes and the time I did this observation is our kind of first thing in the morning routine. So when students walk in, they are greeted with an easel that is usually over here. Let's see if it'll let me flip it around. Can I flip it while I'm videoing? Maybe not. Okay, so here's our easel that is our good morning routine. It's very simple. You hang up your backpack and you put away your folder. And our folder bin is labeled. And then after that point, they choose a center. Oh, let me see if I can get down there to that board. And this is the first thing. Because my students enter at different times of the day, you can see that there are some different icon options on there. There are a few that are scattered throughout the room because they chose centers this morning. And so that's kind of addressed in the field notes as to what everybody was doing when they came in. Everybody was able to come in. There were a couple of kids that needed some prompting, but then their cubbies are labeled with their binders that include. Let me cover this kiddo's picture, but that also include their pictures on them, and they are able to hang up their backpacks independently. They pull out their lunch boxes and they put their folders away. So from that point, they are able to choose their center, which I showed you that board. And after choosing the center, as we're waiting for everyone to arrive, I have two different school buses that come, and then about half my class comes as car riders. We have 9 students total, so it takes us, 15, 20 minutes for everyone to get here, finish up breakfast. Some of them eat in the cafeteria as soon as they arrive, and then get unpacked. So that's why we have a choice center at that time. At a large transition, we use a bell that one of my students used this morning, and I'm not actually sure where he put it back. Aha. We use a bell to signal a large group transition. There aren't very many times during the day when everybody transitions at once. You'll note in my field notes, one of my students went and got the bell on his own, decided that was the time, and it was actually within about a 2-minute time frame of that. And then they come over and check individual schedules, and I'm just going to kind of scan around. Yeah, here's an example of one of my kiddos' schedules, and then some of them are transitioning to more of a written schedule, and so he's got both his icons and the words that he will be moving toward checking those off. And then here are some of the visual supports at their work desks, even though that's not what they did next at this point. You can see that there's a work system in place. This is a kid that does a lot of pencil paper work. He's not just at a Velcro stage. I'm sorry, I know that this is super weird and he matches some icons up, and those icons happen to, there we go. Those icons happen to match a very specific interest of his, which is the Titanic, which I know way more about than I would have ever cared to know about. So anyway, they check their schedules, they pull off the circle time icon. Every student was able to come over. We have 2 tables that serve as our whole group tables, and they then match that circle time icon there to that table. At that point, we all participate in a group activity. The only time we do whole group instruction really in my class this year is it serves as transitional times. So you can see we have a schedule that is specific to our circle time. and we move through that schedule using a clothespin. So there are visual supports for everything we're going to do next. Most of that activity happens on a UDL touchscreen computer. I don't have a smartboard in my classroom, just is what it is. And during that time, all the students use what is very new to me, and if you happen to know any great research on it, I would love to read some, but we're using core language boards, working with our speech therapist to work through some core language, and even my students that are verbal are using these during circle time. It's a great visual support for language. It is not yet considered an evidence-based practice as far as I can tell, but there is some things going on with that. She's fine. It's fine. So my kids are back, and I'm really nearing this way surpassing the 5-minute point. So please let me know if you have any further questions on the visual supports in our classroom. Some of the reflection I've made is just further visual supports for individualized work during that circle time and during their centers. Thanks.